All right, so the Boston Celtics are the 2024 champions, and as a Celtics fan since like 2012, just feels awesome. I'm just gonna say a few thoughts here since most people are probably going to say what I'm gonna say. I don't think there's like a bunch of like hot takes or superb nuance that I need to really go into. First, let me start with Brown. You got Finals MVP. I think that I don't know if I can really disagree with it. He was consistent. He took advantage of the fact that he wasn't doubled most of the time. He played great defense on Luka Doncic, and he kind of proved the haters wrong from last year. After last year with that Game 7 disaster against the Heat, everybody was like talking about Brown as if he's like not worth this contract, how there's questions with his left hand, all this stuff. He put that thing to rest, and honestly, he deserves his flowers for that. He really does, and I think this is a way for him to kind of get more respect across the NBA media. He didn't make it to any All NBA team, and even for Team USA, they're talking about putting Derek White over this guy, and it's just mind-boggling sometimes. Next, I'd like to talk about Al Horford. This guy's like 38. He's a dinosaur in terms of his age in the NBA. Like, this guy does not have a lot of years left to him. He's 38, man. Like, he's pretty close to retirement. And the fact that he's been a productive starting member on the Celtics squad, man, what a career. It just means so much to him, especially since, he didn't even make a finals until 2022. That was the first time he sniffed the NBA finals, and now he is an official NBA champion. Drew Holiday, what an amazing acquisition. Pretty much Marcus Smart on steroids. He's smart with the ball. He doesn't turn it over, take dumb shot clock mistakes. He's just a great player, man. Now he has 2 rings with 2 different franchises, and he's been an integral part of both of them. If he keeps this up and the Celtics win more, man, Holiday's going to be in the books. Mazzulla kind of surprised me. I didn't realize that he was this well-spoken. In his interview afterwards with ESPN, he just, he's very smart. You can tell. He knows what he's talking about. He has an ideology. He has a very, good idea of just where to think from, and just how he draws conclusions is honestly really impressive. I think Stevens deserves huge props for just getting this guy, because you have this Ime Udoka disaster from last year. Like, bro could not keep it within his pants, and they got this guy Joe Mazzulla. Like, I don't know if people knew Joe Mazzulla even amongst Celtics fans. And this guy comes in. They have a year where they go all the way to the conference finals, Game 7, and then, we know what happens. Then the next year, he wins it all. He's the second, or he might be he's like the youngest coach since Bill Russell to win a championship. That is crazy status. Like, this guy could be an all-time great coach if he retires, like, in 20, 30 years, There's a lot of potential for this guy. Porzingis, honestly, he goes from basically no playoffs to champion, and that must be an amazing feeling for him, right? Especially with, he was with Luka Doncic. They weren't able to win anything, and, he was on the Wizards. You don't really get to win anything there. And, yeah, now he's officially a champion. He was injured throughout the series. He didn't get to play everything. So in some ways, he was kind of backpacking there for the ride. But you can tell that this Celtics team is elite with him, like, to an insane level. And the fact that the Celtics pulled it off without Porzingis kind of makes it scary. Like, yo, if this guy was fully healthy throughout the season, like, what is this team going to do? So, props to him. Derek White, an awesome acquisition. Just great role player. Superb on defense. Does his role. Very timely. Pretty clutch, too. Like, last year, he had that tip-in shot from Game 6. And now with Tatum. Now, I still believe Tatum's the best player. He didn't shoot that well this series. It's kind of reminiscent of the 1981 Celtics, where Bird also did not shoot well, and he also did not win Finals MVP. They gave it to Cedric Maxwell. And it's sort of similar, I think, with Tatum this series. Like, he didn't shoot well. It is, like, he shot terribly for a guy his standard. Let's just keep it real. This guy was a bricklayer, all right? But he was a bricklayer that was being good at everything else. So he was a key reason why the Celtics won. They had to double him because they know he's the one. And, he just kept them making good passes, playmaking, good defense, getting real rebounds, by the way. Like, this isn't like the Westbrook rebounds where, like, Steven Adams, like, oh, you take it. No, this guy was going up for the boards against a very good rebounding team, and he got it done. And yeah, just credit to these guys. And also credit to the Mavs. I'm not going to lie, I was a Mavs doubter. I don't really like their players. I'm going to keep it real. Don't really like Doncic. I'm actually okay with, like, Kyrie Irving. Like, contrary to most Boston fans, I'm like, whatever to this guy. But I do not like Doncic. But, they made some really good trade deadline moves, and they got a really good team. And, making it to the finals is no slouch. Like, I know people have, like, this crazy way of, like, viewing NBA players, and, like, Michael Jordan obviously has this amazing legacy, but making it to the finals matters. They beat 350 win teams. Like, you can't just discount that. And then they ran into probably one of the strongest teams in, like, the past 5 years that wasn't the Golden State Warriors. Like, it's an unlucky timing for the Mavs that the Celtics were just this good. And the matchup also just was, man, like, the Celtics are just suited to beat the Mavericks. It is just so hard for them. And yeah, I mean, everyone in the Mavs organization gets the credit. Like, I don't like Luka, but he was very, very, very clear that it was very clear that he was the best player this series, I'd say. Yeah, for sure, I would have said Luka's the best player. I think that he was hard trolling in Game 3. I don't know if I would have said. Like, yeah, he made some costly mistakes there. There are ways that he can improve, dude. Like, this guy's only 25. He's got so much areas to improve on. Like, I don't see a world where, like, he's not back here. Like, I don't want this guy to be back here, but he's clearly at the level where he can be. So, yeah, well, we'll see more of this guy in the future. As for that, for all the doubters out there, you guys suck. We won. We are the best franchise in the league. Suck it. Lakers fan, I hope you cry on your knees. I will lick up your tears. It is awesome. To all the Celtics fans that were believers, to people like JJ Redick, you guys are awesome. You guys know where it's at. And yeah, there are talks about the Celtics becoming a dynasty. It's pretty hard to be a dynasty in this day and age. You saw what happened with the Nuggets. There is talent all over the league. Like, in terms of star players, I'd maybe say, like, that necessarily hasn't changed because, bro, LeBron was crazy. And there were people like Kobe in the past, MJ, who I think is the GOAT, and he played in a really star-studded era. But in terms of the overall quality, like, the role players are freaking good, man. Like, the average play to get into the NBA is so much higher. Like, I think people need to realize that basketball hasn't been around that long in terms of other sports. And now we're kind of seeing, like, a point where, yeah, just the overall level in the league is really, really good. Now, obviously, there's, like, a certain curve, a bell curve, where at the very top level, it's actually really, really hard to improve at. Like, people are talking about, like, in the future, like, what about, like, these 7-footers, like, shooting 3-pointers like Stephen Curry? Like, no. Like, with the way people are and, human error is a thing. Like, I don't really see that being like a thing. But yeah, like this era is really, really strong. Like, there's just a lot of good teams every year. So it's kind of hard to be at the top. But as we've seen so far, the Celtics do have the roster to kind of pull it off. If I were them and going into the offseason, I would try to address the one weakness that the Celtics have, and that's the fact that they can't really guard a super dominant center. Like, they can't guard Jokic. That's the reason why they're 0-2 in the season against. Is there anything else off the top of my mind? Oh, yeah, just what the biggest MVP of this team, Brad Stevens. What a job. What a job. Stevens maybe had one of the craziest GM tenures. Like, this guy did not miss. He brought Al Horford back. He shipped off Smart. He shipped off Brogdon. He got Drew Holiday, Porzingis. Like, he made this roster. He made no mistakes. Zero. Even Xavier Tillman, like that addition, he dropped a 3 and guarded Luka like a dog. So, like, this is crazy. Like, the Celtics have a crazy, crazy future. Like, I could see them winning another couple rings. But being a dynasty is hard. And, I don't know if Tatum's necessarily a top 5 player. Like, it's really, really difficult for me to argue that. Like, you can really, really make the case that at best he's 7th best in the world. But they've got a good team, and that's really what matters. It's a team sport. So yeah, proud of my boys. It's awesome to see a team that I've rooted for like 12 years just finally winning it. Like, I was supporting this team when I was like in 5th grade or something. Like, I don't know. Like, it's been a while. Like, I've seen it all. I've seen Gordon Hayward break his leg, the Kyrie Irving saga, and then the Kemba Walker saga. Just like, especially, and the IT saga, of course. Like, we went from Jared Solinger, Jonas Jerebko, Kelly Olynyk, IT, Avery Bradley, like that squad. Now we have this, and it's awesome. I trust Brad to make the right moves. They'll extend Tatum for sure. Yeah, that's all the thoughts that I have for today. The Boston Celtics are champions. We have got 18. We are the best. Screw all the other fans out there. Your team sucks. You'll never beat us. And see you next time.